I'm thrilled that you are all here tonight, but you know I'm going to Mr. Carville first. James, I want to start by reading you a quote from one of the economic speeches we heard this week. You ready? One of the candidates said, I will focus on cutting needless bureaucracy and unnecessary regulatory red tape and encourage innovative technologies. That candidate was not Donald Trump. So my question to you is, why do we hear over and over that Donald Trump is the pro-business candidate?
Well, that's a good question. And Donald Trump inherited a really good economy. Joe Biden inherited economies in the dumps, a little amount of detail. When I watched that opening of this show, I thought this race boils down to this. It's classy versus trashy. And we have a classy ticket, and honestly, they have a trashy ticket. And they're criticizing, honorable people who had honorable service. And he can't, he whines that he's entitled to personal attacks. And it's sort of hilarious when you watch these people say, we just get back to the issues. What issue? Crime is down. Border crossings are down. The inflation is down. I got news for you. Problems are not static. They're addressed and they get better. So we're going to have a Fed rate cut in all probability in mid-September. But I think our party, I think the Democratic Party has two really classy candidates, and they have two really trashy candidates. And that's what I think this election boils down to.
Classy versus trashy. It sounds like a theme for a fraternity party. Basil, what do you think?
Well, it's actually reminiscent of a Biggie lyric. I went from ashy to classy. But listen, I absolutely agree. I think we went from an anti-Trump race, which I think was sort of synonymous with the Biden race, to a pro-Kamala race. And that means that voters are invested in her emotionally in ways that they perhaps were not before. And I do think that, to earlier point, there's always this question about we got to get back to issues, but these issues are being solved. And I think Pete Buttigieg said at one point, for all of the things that Donald Trump has been talking about, complaining about, there's a policy solution for that. And Democrats are actually really good at it. And if you look from state to state, governors, mayors, they've been working to solve all of these problems. So these ad hominem attacks by Donald Trump, these personal attacks on Kamala Harris, what they ended up doing is taking the emotion that is really present with the Democratic Party, deputizing everybody and saying, bring it. I'm going to push back, and I'm going to push back hard. And you see that. You see everybody coming to the swift defense of Kamala Harris to a point where Trump's attacks just aren't landing.
Willie Geist, 4 weeks ago, President Biden decided to drop out of the race. Kamala Harris put her hat in the ring. You left and went to the Olympics for 2 weeks. You came back to full-blown 2 new campaigns, traveling across battleground states, and you've been covering it all this week. Where is your head on everything?
It's so funny you say that, Stephanie. I was having the same thought, which is I left for the Olympics to go to Paris 2 days after Joe Biden dropped out of the race. In fact, I was supposed to leave the day he dropped out and obviously postpone that because the world was turned upside down. And since I've left and went to that parallel universe in Paris at the Olympics, everything has changed. I mean, just look at the enthusiasm numbers. The Monmouth poll that came out just yesterday that shows enthusiasm among Democratic voters was at 36% a few months ago. It's now at 85%. That's the entire story right there. Democrats are excited. You see it at the rallies. And we keep seeing this contrast between an event for Vice President Harris and an event for former President Trump, where with Trump you get American carnage. Our country is a hellhole. We're a third world nation. And at the Vice President Harris rallies, all you see is joy and a Morning in America energy to every hope and change. Pick your campaign slogan. So this race, obviously, since I left town and just got back a week ago, has been turned completely on its head.
It's funny that Willie mentions joy, Paul, because I get letters written to me in the last 2 weeks all the time, emails after my show, where people are saying, you're so naive to talk about this joy. What are you so excited about? Do you know that we're on the precipice of World War III and the problems around the world? talk to us about where you think these campaigns are and where they should be, because this joy that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz's ticket has created this great sense of optimism and inspiration in the country. And I don't take it as naive or not realizing how serious problems we have here or abroad are.
Well, it's a joy to back cleanup in this lineup. This is a really good conversation with a bunch of people that I think understand the importance of energy. And I think energy is contagious, and bad energy can be contagious and good energy can be contagious. And I think this country is hungry for good energy. So I think James is right, as he often is, but there's a real contrast here between weird and now cool. And there's also a contrast between nasty and honorable. And I think this has always been a fight over the middle. And the middle wants to believe in America. The middle was rooting for the people in the Olympics. The middle is rooting for people in Ukraine. And I think they want to root for a winner. And it feels like there's real momentum around these leaders. But there's also a very stark contrast in the kind of leaders they are, the way they talk to people, the way they act, not just their profiles, but their behavior. And I always look at it through the eyes of the dad of a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old boy. I want them to see leaders on TV they can look up to. And now there's a very clear contrast between these two tickets. And I think that's going to be especially important with independents and people who aren't diehard Democrats and Republicans. So it's not just about energy. It's also about numbers and votes and wins.
James, you started this conversation by saying people keep saying they want to hear about the issues. I'm all for hearing about the issues, but do you feel like we're not hearing about them from Donald Trump? Kamala Harris actually laid out her economic plan. Donald Trump, his response this week to how to cut costs was that he was going to drill, baby, drill. We're already drilling. That is no plan. He has said over and over he's going to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and give us a bright, big, new, beautiful health care plan, and we've never even seen one word of it. So where are these issues that Republicans are going to lay out, or the issues they're going to cover, or the policies they're going to put forward?
Well, I don't know if it's an accomplishment, but we're producing more domestic energy right now than we ever did under Donald Trump. So I don't know what again, I don't know what exactly that they're talking about. And I think we're going to see some further proposals come out of the Vice President Harris's campaign. I don't have any doubt about that. You might hear some at the convention. You're certainly going to hear a lot of debate on September the 10th. So I'm very comfortable in, Trump has got an act that's just stale. And he just, when it goes stale, he tries harder. And when he just digs himself into a deeper hole. And his attacks, his nicknames don't matter that much anymore to people. The attacks on Governor Walz are kind of flat. And, sometimes you have an act that works and then it just peters out on you. And most people have enough sense to try to change their act. He just keeps trying to double down on the same old act. And that's what you're watching, a failed vaudeville guy run around the country trying to get his mojo back.
But the funny thing is, Willie, the rich, Palm Beach set that Donald Trump has in his pocket, they can't stand his act. They're ashamed of his act. But I get why they support him, because they're going to get deregulation and they're going to get their taxes cut. But Donald Trump's original base, that MAGA base that put him on the map and got him elected in 2016, what are they getting in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting more of the same is what they're getting. They're getting 2016, they're getting 2020, they're getting, as James says, a look back. And this is, when you watch Donald Trump on the stump, when you watch him at these rallies, it's Elvis in his later years. And yes, some people came out to watch Elvis at the end, but the girls weren't screaming anymore. They were just there out of habit, you know what I mean, in Vegas when he had the jumpsuit on. We're in those years right now, I think. And so, yeah, look, when you ask those people we're talking about, the Palm Beach set, as you put it, the Hampton set, pick your group, you ask, how high does the stock market have to go? How strong does our economy have to be before you can see that maybe things are going okay in this country? And you always get, as you said, an explanation about tax cuts or crypto or something else for reasons that they're on board with Donald Trump. But, I mean, the economy is pretty good from where most people are sitting right now. Obviously, inflation, we got a great report a couple of days ago. That's getting better. Still too high. Groceries are still too expensive, but everything moving in the right direction at the very least.